episode, I believe, 39, Reece. 39.
Wow.
Can you imagine that? That's a lot of hours of us talking absolute gibberish, mainly about Arsenal, sometimes about, just current affairs. How are you feeling? Because I know you haven't been very well.
Yeah, I mean, the last couple of days been kind of rough. Been ill, and then we drew, and then I did a stream, and that just wound me up. And then I don't know, it's just been pain in the arse, really. But we're getting there. We're getting there.
When did you stream? Did you stream like straight after the game, or
after the Wolves game? Yeah, like an hour after. That wasn't really that fun.
Oh, mate, I couldn't bring myself to do it. I had to wait till the next day. I was gonna go and put out an instant reaction. It ended up like maybe 5 o'clock the next day because I went to do it in the morning as well, and it was the most aggressive kind of reaction video, like a proper reactionary video. No analysis, nothing, just me just moaning like an old man. So that one just got thrown in the bin. And then then I did my proper one. But how are you feeling about it now? Have you managed to get kind of past the annoyance, the anger? Because bearing in mind, like it feels like a loss, doesn't it? But really, we did, some will say, we gained a point. Let's try to be a bit more positive. Have you got past that, or are you still really wound up about it?
Yeah, I'm so angry still. I can't. I usually, like I said this even on my stream, I was like, I am one of the more positive people, but I can't be positive after what I saw and it's obviously not the first game that we've seen it, but it's the worst. It's the worst result of the season by my standards. It's one of the worst performances of the season. I don't know if it's the worst because there's been so many bad ones recently that who knows at this point. And I just think it's unforgivable because there is certain things that I can accept that happen that isn't necessarily always down to us, which I have accepted over the last 3 years. But there is things that we are just not doing that are just the same problems that we've had for years and years and years. And we can't cry wolf about them when we are our own problem at the end of the day. Like some of the things that we have that we're struggling with, I'm just looking at like, well, we knew this. I knew this 3 months ago. We're still doing it. And it's like, I can't sit there and be like, oh, fair enough. No, there's just too much in it. So I don't know. I still haven't got over it. I'm not watching the game back. I can't be bothered. I had to watch the highlights back for a short I made, and that pissed me off too much. And I was like, I'm not bothering. I'm not doing this again.
Mate, it's like, I think I put out a tweet saying it was everything that we come to expect Arsenal not to do in terms of application, defensive nous, like all the non-negotiables we're used to just didn't happen. And then everything that we've come to expect in terms of, I hate to use that word, like bottling, but there seemed to be a mentality problem. Like whether that is the mentality when you're 2-0 up to kind of let Wolves come onto you, the mentality in terms of that, like there was a period where the crowd were really up and just letting that happen, letting them come up. Like it was just awful to watch. Like, like when you get that feeling of something bad's going to happen. And I felt that throughout that match, especially towards the end. It really reminded me of the Sunderland game where we conceded real late. It's just, a calamity of a day. Just awful. Where should we start with it all? Do we start with the team selections? Or we start with rotations? Or we start with... Because we've talked on here plenty of times, haven't we, about like Declan Rice plays a hell of a lot of minutes. We've said about Zubimendi and the fact that he has been a wonderful signing. Like he's been probably out of all the signings, the most successful signing since the summer. But I think on our last pod, it was, do you know what? I think it was the one that was titled, We're Going to Wembley. And now look at us feeling sorry for ourselves. But I'm sure I said on that, we see like Zubimendi he's adapted to the league. He's not adapted to the schedule. I'm starting to get a little bit more concerned about how he deals with physicality and contact. But like, should he have even been starting from the off in this?
No, he shouldn't have been. I mean, he shouldn't have started. The frustrating thing about all of this is that every single thing that I was annoyed about when we played Wolves at home, we just did exactly the same again. And what did he just think that? Oh, because we won the home game, it was fine. Did you remember how we won that game? Like, it was pathetic. This team they have 8 points, like, or before whatever. And I've seen so many people as well be like, oh, we've got to give credit to Wolves. They played well. In my opinion, I give credit to teams when they play well against us. Like Villa, for instance, played quite well against us. And I was like, you know what, fair. Wolves didn't play well. They kicked the ball up to Toulouse and he just walked off. There was 6 or 7 times where he was no way near it. And I know Gyökeres does that, so it's like whatever. But I was watching them and they couldn't even string 3 passes together. In that first half, we weren't very good, I don't think. I don't think we were good in the whole game. And Wolves, all they mustered up was 2 30-yard shots, and that was it. And that's how bad they were. And I didn't think they got any better throughout the entire game. I thought they were awful. They didn't even really do anything. They just scored 2 whatever goals. And that's the frustrating part about it. It's like we play this, the way we play, the players that we play, it just invites them to do this stuff. It invites Wolves' confidence. I don't think they are a good team. I still think they are one of the worst teams in Premier League history. They are awful. But we've had 2 tough games against them now where we've conceded like late goals because what are we doing? And like it's just like stuff like that. I'm like, I like the Zubimendi thing we spoke about over and over and over and over again all the time. I have been saying since November, why is Norgard not playing? He has played about 35 Premier League minutes or whatever it is. It's around that ballpark. It's a joke. Why spend that money on this guy? Oh, Arteta didn't want him. I don't care. Play him. Like, I'm so sick of this whole thing of like, we buy all these players in, and if Arteta doesn't like have the slightest inclination of like them fixing the system, he won't play him at all. I hate that. Like, we're 6 years in. If you're a couple of years in and this isn't your squad, then fair enough. I get it. But you're 6 years into this tenure. You have a say on every signing at some sort of capacity, even the Gyökeres one. You know, Gyökeres is clearly just a player that he doesn't know how to work in this system and a player that isn't good enough to work in the system we're using at least. And he still goes for him every game because he's scared to change. He's scared to change. But with Norgard and Zubimendi, it's almost so easy for him just to continually play Zubimendi, where he's like, yeah, no, I will. I get it in the first 3 months of the season, but now, and it's been evident since December that Zubimendi has been tired and been playing bad every single game. He's played so many bad games in the last 2 months. Like, no forward passes. He can't get into any physical challenge. He's losing the ball. There's multiple goals we've conceded because he's given the ball away. His pressing, like people talk about us scoring, conceding low XG shots. A lot of that comes down to the fact we don't close people down at the edge of the box. And Zubimendi, in my opinion, is the worst player in our squad at doing that. There is multiple goals this season that is caused from that. There's a shot against Brentford that we had where he closes down late. There's the 2 shots that Enzo Fernandez has against Chelsea where he closed him down late. The Sucic goal against Inter, he closes down late. Like constant over and over and over again, he keeps doing these mistakes, which is very much something I was critical of Thomas Partey for, because Thomas Partey would sit in that back line and wouldn't push out. Everyone would be like, why is he not going forward? Well, Zubimendi does, but he just isn't quick enough to react. And that comes down to fatigue. Why is he playing every game? He played against Inter. He came on against Wigan. Like, it's just games that he doesn't need to come on and play. And there were so many problems with this Wolves game. Martinelli in this game was quite disgraceful, I think. I think his attitude, his performance was dreadful. But why is he still on the pitch if he's not running? He didn't run for the last 15 minutes of the game. Why is he still on the pitch? Oh, we haven't got any options. All the wingers have played. I don't care. Bring Norgard on and just sit back then with 2-1 up. What are we doing? Like, there's constant, and I've seen people say, like, oh, we were 2-0 up. I put this more in the defense than the attack. And the defense is not innocent here, and I will get to them eventually. But like at the end of the day, it starts from the attack. None of the attacking players were doing anything on the ball. They kept giving the ball away. We couldn't get any pressure. The second goal that we scored is our centre back in open play, passing the ball through to our left back who scored. So I'm not giving any credit to the forward line for that because they did nothing. And I just constant problems throughout the whole team. Raya's another one. Like, these players are tired. It's clear, and I have sympathy to them for that. But I don't care. If you want to win the league, you can't be tired. And I mean, a lot of it is on Arteta, in my opinion. But yeah, it's just so frustrating. That's just like the base level of the frustration. as well.
Mate, like you've hit the nail on the head there. Like it is, like in terms of Zubimendi, like his pressing. I said it as well on my reaction, because when the guys on the Different Not Plus were chatting after the game, and Alex was quite obviously vexed, and he said, like, what, like, why is this happening? Why are we conceding these low XG chances? And for me, not being able to be in part of that conversation, and sometimes I am on the IRs, I was just like, because no one's pressing. And the other thing is, every time this happens, other teams and other players looking, going, oh, there's a chink in their armor. Well, I've seen Cunha do it. Oh, I've seen like this, all these players, you start going, hit it. What's the worst that's going to happen? We might as well give it a go. And at that point in the game, like kind of last 5 to 10 minutes where teams are getting desperate, they're more likely to shoot in that manner. So it's like another reason why you go, well, surely that last 10, take Zubi off, put Norgard on, because it's Norgard like 6'2" as well. He's not like a small guy. And I just think that bit of physicality, that bit of know-how, he was a Premier League captain. He was a captain of Brentford, a good team. By all manners, like they're not like right down the bottom. And he is capable of playing against that Wolves team, especially coming off a man of the match performance against Wigan. Like, why on earth is he not involved? It's mental. The worst thing is that we can all see it as fans. We're watching that game. We're watching it unfold. We're all crying out for that. And Arteta doesn't do it. And whether that is arrogance, whether that is like a blind trust in Zubimendi, or I don't know, but something has to change. This North London derby is enormous, because whatever that result is and the performance, that will transmit to the players further and to the fans. Because I think for us right now, there are a lot of people that are starting to turn and go, the performances aren't good. I'm not enjoying the type of football. And are we going to bottle it again? And at that point, like he talked about, it was pre-Kairat, wasn't it? And Arteta came out and we both said, say whatever you want, but what happens on the pitch is the most important thing. Because he had said, let me get the quote up here, because I've got the actual quote here. Sorry for those of you that are on listening platforms, because we are on listening platforms as well now, so that's quite nice. I cannot find it for the life of me. It's so frustrating. Essentially, what he had said is, for the next 4 months, we are going to be kind of playing in an exciting manner. Everyone jump on the boat. Everyone get behind this team. But if we are playing in that way, fans can't get behind that. It's so difficult. I could hear through the television all the away fans all getting behind us, really going for it. And then when the team can't string together 3 or 4 passes, that just breeds negativity, and it breeds like this horrible feeling of anxiousness. And I just think, God, like, just do something, like be proactive, whatever it may be. And I'm starting to look at even at the Saka, like moving in field as a number 10, like that screams desperation to me rather than proactivity. It's similar to when he put Emile Smith-Rowe in the team. Like, do you remember that season? And that was because it was through necessity, not because he actually looked and went, oh, that looks like a good option. That's something that could free up our left-hand side, him coming inside. Yeah, maybe we'll go with that. And I look at it and I think it's just kind of like, all right, move Saka in, let's try it. I don't know, it just smacks of desperation at the moment. And I'm getting more and more worried. And I hate that, because the whole season I have been so confident with this team, with this squad, with the manager and the recruitment staff, everything. I've been very much like, prior to the season starting, I thought we're going to be in and around it. But I thought Liverpool would be favourites, to be all honest. They were champions. They invested heavily. And then as the season started to unfold, I thought, yeah, like this looks good. Just cruise along, that kind of just pick up the points as we go, like play the statistics, kind of like you would in gambling. But now I'm starting to worry because even the players, I don't know about you, at the end, I think the reaction, like the physical, like what they showed, didn't strike me with any confidence. It looked like players like Calafiori, when it went in off him, he even looked like, oh no, not again. Like, because what have we got? 2 wins in 7, 2 wins in 8 now?
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
It's so funny to me because, like, if we, like, against Brent, the thing is, the problems to me have started a long time ago. I think the last month and a half we've been bad, even in the wins. Leeds, I think, okay, it's probably one of our better performances, but that first half we did nothing. We just scored 2 corners. And then the game opened up like typical Arsenal, and then we thrashed them. The Sunderland game we did nothing and then scored like a long shot, and then the game opened up later and we ended up scoring 2 goals. It's just one of them situations where I just think, like, I mean, the Brentford game, we got absolutely like torn to shreds. We should have lost that game, in my opinion. And the thing is, we are playing against these teams right now that are literally playing our style of football and beating us at it. They are being more physical. They are winning duels. They are winning second balls. They are playing long balls, and they are beating at it because we have no. Everyone's so fatigued. Everyone's tired. You can see it. He plays the same team every game. So if your team is fatigued, if you can't keep that physical level up, you go for technical level. It's the same problem we always have when we play Newcastle over and over and over again, where he go, oh, we'll match him up physically, and they just beat us to the ground because he cannot understand that we needed to go for technical quality. This year, we went for technical quality, and it was our best performance at St James's Park and his tenure at the club, even better than the 2-0 that we won there in 2022-23. And like, I'm like, oh, okay, surely that's a great idea of what you're going to do in the future. No, he's gone straight back to factory reset, factory default with the same players. We are 6 years into this tenure at Arteta. Every single player in this club is in the club because he has wanted them in some capacity to be there. Every single person behind the scenes is at the club because Arteta, in some capacity, wanted them to be there. Think about the people that has left. He has complete reign of this club. He is the base. He's the godfather. He can do what he wants. So every single problem that we have is on him at the end of the day because he has to have sorted this out. You can't give benefit of the doubt to him anymore. I think our strikers broadly are bad, but I still think that is somewhat on his fault. I don't blame him for the Jesus one. Jesus was a good signing. I think he would have been better if he didn't get so many injuries, but he also did have a lot of injuries at Man City, but that is the risk you take, whatever.
He was a stepping stone signing to me. That's what he looked like. Him and Zinchenko were like, okay, what can we do at this moment in time? And then, as you progress up the league and over the seasons, then you start getting better strikers. Yeah, I do agree with you.
I think Jesus could have been still a very good, could have been easily a league-winning striker. I do think he has the qualities, and I think the team play around that. But he just has been injured for so long. He's just not ever going to be at that level again. It's just gone, in my opinion. I think the player that we once signed is never going to be there again. Gyökeres, whatever. I get he took a risk, and it's been very unfortunate that Havertz has had consistent injury problems the entire season. But let's not forget, Havertz wasn't signed to be a striker when he originally joined. So, what was our plan in the future for our striker setup? We were just going to have Gyökeres and an injured Jesus. Some of these, the long-term planning, and I saw James B tweet about it as well. 3 years ago, we have an attack of Martinelli, Saka, and whatever, Jesus, and we've still got them 3 players there while some of them have not performed that well over years. Then you've got Trossard still here as our starting left winger most of the season. He isn't good enough. I think these players are good enough to win the league, and I've said this before, and I still think they are. But when the going gets tough, everything will be called into action. And why are we still got these forwards that clearly don't work? We play in such a specific system that it genuinely just feels like when Havertz isn't in the team, we just get confused. Oh, let's keep lofting the ball to Gyökeres over and over and over again. Against Brentford, we did it multiple times where Gyökeres brought the ball well down, and we still created nothing because the no one's on the same page. Madueke's running, he was sure Gyökeres can't pass the ball. They don't work well. So when I saw that after the Brentford game, I made a video and I literally said, if you can't do that in if you can't do that against Brentford, then I'm worried because, you know, the passes were great by Raya, the control was great by Gyökeres. There's going to be days where that isn't true. And Wolves, we saw it every single time. Wolves barely even pressed the goalkeeper. Raya's like, let's go long. Every team in the Premier League knows how to head a ball and can play physical now. That's the way that we've kind of helped it go into. So we've got to play more technical. We have spent huge amounts of money on players that don't play. Eze, I know that Eze comes on and he does look lackluster, and I get that Arteta doesn't like some of the things that he does, and we all have them problems. But we spent 70 mil on him. It's February the 20th. This isn't start of the season stuff. This is 8 months in. We're so far into the season, and the fact that he hasn't assimilated Eze or Gyökeres into the team is bad. They were getting better in the team, building up fitness and building up confidence, especially Eze. Gyökeres, he got injured. I can understand it a bit more. But Eze was getting all this confidence. And then as soon as Odegaard came back, you put him in the team for 2 good performances and then put him in the team for every game for a month and a half when he was not good.
Yeah.
And then Eze's now coming in the team and he looks a shell of the self he was. Eze clearly needs 2 10s around him. Every time he plays better, it's with someone alongside him who's attacking, not a double pivot DM, which it is now because against Sunderland, against Newcastle, so Mendy was moving into the channel a bit more. So was Rice. Now they're not. They're just sitting off. Against Wolves, every time we gave the ball away, I'm looking like, where's the press? Where's the press? 60th minute. Oh, Rice and Mendy are next to the centre backs. Like stuff like that is just like
it's so bad.
The quality level between the Wolves players. I bet you, if you ask most Arsenal fans, do you know half of the Wolves team? They'll be like, no. Like they played a 5'5" central midfielder against us, and he did come off 20 minutes in because of the physical battle because he got injured. But I'm sitting there like, why is Rice just not on him every time? You are double the size of him. Just get a ball. And I'm like, Wolves are one of the worst teams in the Premier League. Everything that we say is not justifiable. No matter how tired you are, not being better than Wolves and not being confident against Wolves is a joke. We didn't deserve to score the 2 goals that we scored. We had how many chances did we have in the game? 2, 3? Barely any. And one of them, the first 10 minutes of the second half are an absolute joke. Like the whole time, Raya's just kicking the ball long. We win no balls, and then we sit deep. And I'm like, do you know that you are playing against the worst team in the league, right, guys? They are 20th. Like we do know that we are better, and we should get the ball. And the one time that Raya actually caught a ball, he rolled it out slowly and not rushing it every 3 seconds. We actually had a little bit of sustained pressure, and then Hincapié scored. And then yet again, we just forgot about that the whole game. And it's like, oh my God, there is things that the team do that frustrate me that I think are bad. But at the end of the day, some of these players are clearly tired, and some of these players should not be playing more than they've got. We've got the biggest depth at squad in the country, in Europe, whatever. In my opinion, we have the best squad in the country. Well, there's no excuses to not win the league. Like, unless, like, I don't know, some injury problems happen like last year, maybe. But I still don't really think that's an excuse at this point because we know that the problems are. Before, we had justification of like, oh, why is Timber playing all the time? Oh, yeah, because Ben White's injured. Well, Ben White's not injured. He's sitting on the bench. He's been sitting on the bench for a month. You know, why is Zubimendi or our party playing every game like we would say, oh, yeah, midfield options aren't that great? No, Norgard is just sitting there. Like, it's the same with the centre-backs. Gabriel's come back and been crap. Why don't we just play Mascara? I think Mascara's been fine when he plays. I think Mascara's better with Saliba because Saliba's going to be more of that passer. Because right now, Gabriel cannot kick a ball, and he hasn't been able to for 3 weeks. He just can't pass the ball out, and that's really hindering us. It's awful. He isn't, and it's the same thing. See how jumpy he was to put Calafiori back in the team when Calafiori was back fit. When Hincapié actually had a couple of good games in a row, Hincapié came back was awful. I think Hincapié's broadly still been very good, and I think Hincapié against Wolves was actually okay, like not great, but I think he's better than most players around him. And it's like, why are we so jumpy to put Calafiori?
He was our biggest threat.
Yeah,
how crazy is that? Like, for me, probably should have got a pen. And then he makes that lovely run. But like, why on earth are we platforming our left back and our right back? Like, neither of which really are known for. It's not like we've got a Hakimi. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you had Hakimi, I could understand. I'd go, well, I'd still probably try to platform Saka. Maybe. Or like, let's have a go at really platforming the guy that has scored 100 goals. Like, and don't get me wrong, I don't think Gyökeres is the player to really lead a team. And for the amount of money that we spent on him, really, he should be a squad rotation player, like alongside Havertz. But right now, you're not platforming any of those players Like out of our front four, including the 10, none of them are being platformed right. So instead, what we're doing is quite often you'll find our fullback inside and then our wingers outside. It's like get them closer to goal. Like it's so frustrating. It just drives me nuts at the moment. Let's go for a couple of these comments because guys, some of these comments are brilliant, by the way. Thanks for tuning in on your Friday night. Because if you're anything like us, I bet you guys are vexed as well. Let's start off with 6-10. We don't score 3 goals enough. If we can kill games, we can play relaxed rather than the edge of the seat stuff all the time. That's why they're knackered. It's always knife edge football, like 100%. Like, and we are capable, like the Wigan game, the Leeds game. That like there have been games, like even Atletico Madrid. Like there have been games where we can do it, but it seems like most of the time we do that is where teams really come out against us. Like I look at the Bayern performance and I think there was a period in that game where I went, oh my God, we're currently like on form. We are the best team on the planet. Because everyone had been talking about Bayern. They're beating everyone like on average, I think like 5 or 6 goals they were scoring. It was obscene the amount of goals they're scoring. And we just ran through them. Like Declan Rice at one point, winning the ball, driving through midfield. Like they did not know how to cope. And then we play against bottom of the league Wolves, one of the worst teams in terms of like points accumulated ever in Premier League history. And we can't string together a couple of passes. Like what? Like it's crazy, and I hate it. But I think it is partly mentality because some, like I cannot imagine a player like a Thierry Henry going, "Oh yeah, we'll sit off." Like his mentality, that invincible team, their mentality was go and kill the game off, beat that team. And it might not always happen, but that was their kind of their remit. Whereas I look at this team and I think, like, are they killers? Are they, like, I don't know. And then you've got the Arteta like factor, and I'm sure that it's instruction, a lot of it. And it's almost like I do wonder if we actually checked Arteta's passport, if it's actually a Basque Spanish passport, or if he's really Italian. Maybe he's hiding that from us.
Well, I mean, he did get managed under David Moyes for like 10 years. That probably screwed his career up a little bit. Daily Depot. Evening, mate. I checked in on Brentford fans when Norgard left, and his departure upset them more than that of Mbeumo, Visser, and Frank. Do you reckon that's from a quality point of view, or because he's kind of integral because of the position that he plays, or because he's captain, or? Yeah, probably captaincy. I know a lot of Brentford fans care about him a lot. Also, it's probably like they probably understood Mbeumo going to United and probably understood Norgard going to Arsenal a lot less because he's not going to play, which is fair. Yeah. I just think, but even like to go to the point you just said, like with all the games that we played, the thing is the problem about this is that like it is apparent and people have spoken about it, but the Atletico Madrid game, the Bayern Munich game, the Leeds game, we all scored from set pieces at the start. We didn't score an open play goal to start the game.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think the biggest issue is that, like, how much credit am I going to give Mikel Arteta for the set pieces when it's Jova? So it's like, realistically, like, what, like, is he at, like, I genuinely, like, being honest, I don't think Arteta can coach the attack. I don't think the attack is being platformed in the right ways. I also think the biggest issue with the club is the fact that we can't string together 4 or 5 passes. And I think that is down to him because of, I think just because of rotating and using the squad. When we have such a big squad, there's no excuses. And I also think in terms of, like, some things that he does, like some things he says and does right now, I just get so frustrating because all the times he goes on about standards. Who cares? I want the team to play best. You're the one that sets this stuff. You know, on the press conference today, someone asked him very well, said, "Oh, Zubimendi and Yuri Timber have played so many minutes, they're looking fatigued." He went, "Oh, they look fine to me." How is that going to help? All of us can see that they're tired. Timber, oh my God, if you'd heard me in the Wolves game when I was watching it, if I did a watch along, I was screaming bloody murder every time he got the ball because he just couldn't kick a ball. He'd mess up everything, every pass, every 3-yard pass, everything he'd do. He'd try and take a guy on down the wide and lose it, and then we'd be, oh, we'll go get back now. Every single time. I was getting so frustrated. I was like, Ben White is just sitting there. Bring him on. I was so upset. When I first saw the lineup, I don't really get annoyed by lineups because I'm always like, well, we'll see what happens. But when I saw the lineup, I was like, yeah, who would have thought? He's put Saka in the 10 because he saw it work, and then Zubimendi and Thingy are in it. When we have Tottenham on the weekend, I thought going into that game we'd win with that team anyway. But we have Tottenham on Sunday who've had a week and a half break, and that game matters more. And then you're going to play Zubimendi again for Nike and Timber again, who can't kick a ball against Wolves. You're the worst team in the league. So you think they're going to do something away at Tottenham with their new manager? Great. And it's just like stuff like that. I'm like, that is just poor management. Simple things like that is where he can't do better. The mentality as well does start from the manager. The mentality of this club is awful right now. Every single player out there has hit. They are hiding. Brentford, we're sitting off them, letting them dominate us. Okay, Martinelli should have scored that 1-on-1, whatever, but that came through broadly quite lucky situations. And even in that situation, you got Timber running through 1-on-1. Like, I don't have an issue with the attacking dynamics, having the fullbacks in the attacking areas that are good there. I don't mind Calafiori being there. I don't even mind Hincapié because I think Hincapié's been good there the last couple of weeks, actually, and he's improved heavily in the attacking phase. Yuri and Timber should be absolutely nowhere near the final third. Nowhere. If your dynamics have Timber in the final third, and that is your main tactic with your main right back, then you've got something's gone amiss there. Like, I don't mind Ben White doing it because Ben White he's not really a half-channel player, and he understands it because when Ben White plays, he doesn't do that as much. He comes out wide, he sits deeper because he's got that really good passing. Exactly the same with Hincapié. Hincapié's way more versatile in playing the other roles now I've seen. I always thought he was a bit mid in the half channel. I still think it's a bit of a place to learn, but he did score a really good goal there against Wolves. Like, he is learning that. He's always been decent out wide. He got great assists against Brentford, and he's good at deeper from passes, so that's fine. Timber can't do any of it. I'm convinced. At the moment, he can't even pass it from deep, which is something he can do usually. He can't overlap because he hasn't got the pace, and even now he can't any physical tackle. He's not in. And in the half space is a joke. Like, I've said this so many times, but when Eze picks the ball up outside the channel, he looks in front of him, he's got Gyökeres and he's got Timber. It's like the meme by Chunks where he's like, oh, look to my right, look to my left. These brothers stink of piss. Like, they're just bad. They're just so bad. Or what's he going to do? Oh, yeah, give the ball into Timber. He loses it. Great. And like, footballers aren't stupid, or at least Arsenal players aren't stupid. I've said this before, that they're going to do things that they know will work, or try things sometimes. But Saka, it's the same thing with Saka and the Gyökeres argument. Like, Saka isn't going to keep crossing the ball into Gyökeres if he misses every time. Saka will find other ways to create because he'll be like, well, that's clearly not working. It's the same with this. It's the same sort of logic. Well, I'm not going to keep passing the ball to Timber if he loses it in the half channel every 3 seconds. I think in the last 5 games that Yuri Timber's played, I can find like 2 examples of him losing the ball in the half channel where he's got to hold the ball up and he loses it.
Mate, that's such a good point about, how you say about these players are intelligent players. Like, Saka's not going to keep not going to keep knocking on the same door if he knows it's not going to open. I do wonder, like, how many of our players are capable of essentially sticking their middle finger up to the manager and just going, you know what, I'm going to do what I want to do. Because if you think about like the true greats of the game, like your Messis, your Ronaldos, your real Ronaldos, your Maradonas, like all of these players, they were able to just understand that, okay, I'm just going to do what I think's right now. I'm going to do so, create a moment of magic. And ironically, like in Arteta's tenure, probably the biggest moment and the most memorable moment was when Declan Rice said, no, I'm not crossing this free kick. I'm hitting it. And we need so much more of that. Like, I can think of like KDB. Do you remember KDB turning around to Pep and telling him where to go? Like, I remember like Vieira was well known for basically taking control on the pitch, taking control in the changing room. And Wenger quite often would just kind of sit back. Yeah, you do it. Like, sometimes we don't have that. And I can see a lot of frustration coming out in Declan Rice at the moment. Like, he is a winner. He's a guy that's like, I have come here to change the fortunes of this club and be known as, like the player that ushered in a new era. And I can see him getting so frustrated. That whole thing with was it with Yova or was it with Airport Albert? I can't remember who it was that he fell out with. But like he's had problems with the coaching staff and he's told them exactly how he feels. There was a moment with Eze where they were kind of having a discussion about the corner and going back and forth. Like I've seen him screaming at players not for closing down and not making a pass. Like I think he is getting very frustrated at what's going on around him because he must be looking, going, I am running the length of the pitch over and over and over again. I am the one who's having to put it on a plate for all of you from a free kick or a corner kick. I'm the one who's dragging this team towards the Premier League title. Like, at least meet me halfway here, guys. And I think sometimes like we've got to let the shackles off with some of these players. It's like I can only imagine, like for us, how frustrating it is. But for some of those other players, like at this stage, you got to stand up and be counted. Like for all the good work Arteta has done, sometimes you just need someone to just do something different. And I thought we were getting there, to be honest. Like, you know, like the Zubimendi goal from outside the box against, was that Sunderland as well?
Yeah.
I suddenly thought, oh, we're doing something different. We're going to be shooting from slightly outside the box rather than just endless horseshoe. We're like finding like a different way to break that block. And I thought players would kind of take a responsibility. But again, it just seems like we're slipping back to default, as you said, like, you know, going back to that. And like, when are we going to start stamping our authority onto games and making these teams play the way, you know, play against us? Because it always feels like we're playing against them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's just things like it's just adaptability and stuff. Like, I get that we're not going to be brilliant every game, but if you can't play your original game plan that you have like cemented, then you've got to just make it more chaotic and make it more like frantic. That's what Man City do. When things aren't going for Man City, they just make the game crazy. And you know what happens? Man City win most of the time because their quality of their team is better than most teams they play against.
Yeah.
We have the same. There is no excuses to like Brentford as well. Like, I get Brentford's a tough place to go. I understand that, and I understand they've got good players, and I understand they've got a good system in place that has been there for years. But the problem is that our players on the pitch are worth more money. We spent so much more money. We're at high level competing. They've just got to be playing that better. How are we getting dominated by people like Lewis Potter? Like, how? Like it's just not good enough. Like, and it's not good enough because it's consistently happening. You know, we're getting a Dozy coming on for his debut, scoring against us. I know it came out down as an own goal in the end, but like, what are we doing? Like, some of the things that were like, I don't know, that everyone's on a different page as well, because Raya as well is a big problem right now, where he's the only person in the club that wants to go intensity, like wants to put it up to gear 7, but he does it in times when no one's ready, and he just like
that is so true,
so frantic, and it's like, I don't think it should start from the goalkeeper. It just shouldn't. I don't mind us in. I think it's so funny because there was moments in the Wolves game where I was like, we need to calm the ball down, and we didn't. And then there's moments that I'm like, okay, we need to go quicker, and we calmed it down. And like, this whole disconnect is like happening all the time, and everyone is to blame. Like, I think Rice, again, did try his heart out. I think he was really good. But I still think some of the things that he does sometimes are just crazy. Like, he is a product of sitting off sometimes. He is a product of not closing down players. You know, against Brentford, where he's literally in on goal and he tries to sweaty it to Gyökeres. Like, I get it's one moment, but like, shoot. You know, we don't create many opportunities. So why do the team so reluctant to shoot? Like, it's the same thing all the time. And like against Sunderland, I was glad that we scored that goal from inside the box as Mendy, but that's broadly all that we created in the first half. We created 3 long shots, and that was it. And I was like, what's the point, man? If we can't beat anyone in the league, if anyone in the league can sit in a low block against us and probably get good variance and have good chances of winning, then what is the point? Like, we're not good enough to win the league. I mean, and that comes down to a mentality part from everyone. I think it does start with the manager, but all these players are like, some players aren't playing well enough and they have to be dropped. I even think Gabriel is a great example. He just he's on the ball right now. He's awful. He's really doing nothing. Like, yes, okay, he's decent at blocking and other things, but Mascara should just play if that's the case. Like, it's just one of these things where I'm like, I look at all these situations, and Arteta isn't standing up. He isn't making the tough decisions that he goes on about. Where's the ruthless Arteta that got rid of Ramsdale when he wanted to, or got rid of Zinchenko when he made the mistake? He's just not here anymore. He just doesn't care. Eze is frustrating. I understand that, but play 2 10s, man. Why are we not playing 2 10s against Wolves? We did it once against West Ham and it didn't really work and he gave up. But we still won that game, I'd say, more comfortably than a lot of the other games. And I'm just looking at it like it just makes no sense to me. And he can say all he wants in press conferences, but no one believes him anymore. Like no one does.
Yeah.
The trust is gone. And the people like me and other creators and other people that had a lot of trust in Arteta, it is gone because this whole last couple of weeks have just been like, well, it was waiting to happen and you didn't stop it and it's now happened. We deserve to concede against Wolves. We deserve it. It was the exact same situation at home. When we conceded, I just went, well, we deserve that. I was angry, but I almost was like, well, that's how things should happen because I don't want us to keep scamming wins against awful clubs. It's just not good enough. The whole thing is just a mess. Like we've got a technical director leaving after he just got a promotion 8 months ago. Randomly now. What is going on with this club right now? Who is in charge? What is going on behind the scenes? And it's an absolute mess. I think there is problems with the recruitment, and I think look, hindsight, I don't think a lot of the players that we signed have been brilliant, but I also think a lot of them were depth options, which are fine, but Arteta isn't using them as depth options or in enough ways to make him useful. I don't think Madueke is the best player in the world, but if it allows Saka to come inside, if it allows Saka to get rest, I don't mind it. It's fine. He isn't perfect, but I don't know many right wingers that are going to be great at the moment anyway. And then I look at I don't know, man. It's just everything. The whole team is just an absolute mess right now. And then we've got Tottenham and Chelsea. I have no confidence in the team. Absolutely none. Going into this game.
Mate, it's funny because I tried to over the last 24 hours, I guess. I thought I need to kind of try to remove myself from the situation because we quite often it's really intense for us because we're always talking about Arsenal, and even when we're not on camera, we're still texting in different groups and stuff and analyzing stuff, doing rewatches. So we're fully engrossed within this club, and when I thought I'm going to try to take myself out of it and try to talk to some different people. And I talked to a very good friend of mine, Melon. He was on one of the first videos on this channel. So he's a United fan. And he's enjoying his season right now more than me. I was like, we're in a final. We're top of the Champions League, top of the league, and still in the FA Cup. And he seems really happy. And I think sometimes, number one, little moral of this, we need to learn to try and enjoy the journey more rather than the destination. But it does feel like we have been on this journey for quite a few years now. And now everyone's going, are we ever going to get to the destination? It feels like, we're keeping on this analogy. It feels like we're on a bus and we're getting towards that bus stop. And it's like, is the driver going to stop here? Is he just passing this bus stop today? And that's what it feels like. I don't know. And I haven't had that uncertainty with this. My other thought was, I remember when Liverpool, so when I was younger, I never had seen Liverpool win a league. And I knew that they were this big establishment, and I knew that they had won multiple leagues, more than anyone at the time. And then Man United overtook them. And to me, I was always like, yeah, but they're like a dead club. They're not, we hear all this stuff about their history, but they're never going to come back. And eventually, they had, what was the manager? Brendan Rodgers. That came in, and he did a good job, and he got him close, and it was like, the nearly man. And then when they finally got to the Champions League final, and they lost that final, and I remember looking at their midfield and going, God, if they win this Champions League, and if they win the league, it has got to be the worst midfield and the worst collection of midfielders in terms of pure talent that have ever come that far in the competition, and gone on to win it. That's what I think now about our attackers. Like, I genuinely think if we win the Premier League, this might be the most dysfunctional attack ever to win the Premier League. It is. And the difference, that midfield they had, which was more or less made of sixes, it was functional for their attack and for their defense. Like they weren't meant to be like, none of those players were meant to be like a key player. They're never meant to be like an Özil, like threading through the eye of a needle. They were never meant to be like a Kevin De Bruyne making 50-yard passes like on the dot. They were never meant to be like these kind of players. They were there to serve a purpose. And the difference is, I look at our attack and I think, what is your purpose? Because quite honestly, I look and go, probably now the press. Is that your purpose? You're there just to cause like mayhem in the press? And we're not even doing that at the moment. Because I just, like, really, Martinelli, does he strike fear in opposition? No, they might go, oh, he could have a good day. He might have a good 10 minutes at the end of a game. Trossard, like, yeah, he's a good player. Is he someone that every team looks at and fears? No. Gyökeres, no. Jesus, no. Madueke, like, oh, he can beat a man, but he's probably not going to finish, and he won't put on a plate for anyone else. So no. Saka's the one player, but this season and since his injury, I don't think many people really worry about him. And I'm just being honest. And I absolutely love the guy, and I hope he has an upturn in form, but I don't think anyone worries about him. And that even goes through like our 10s, even Odegaard, who is our club captain. I don't think anyone worries about him. And when we talk about him, a lot of the time we talk about his off the ball work. And that's a huge concern. Like, and maybe I'm going a bit far, but I was trying to put myself in the shoes of like what other Premier League fans must think about our team. And then, to be fair, there will be other fans who probably look and go, what the hell are you lot all worrying about? You've drawn, you're still 5 points ahead of the league. You're still in every single cup. It's probably just a downturn in form. Like, what more do you want? Like, how greedy are you lot? How entitled are you lot? But I think it's probably because we've been on this like roundabout going round and round and round for so long now.
I think the thing is, it's hard to know whether it's the players, it's down to more of the players or the manager. Because at the end of the day, like, platforming plays is important. I look at to compare it to like City and City's attackers, let's say, like Ryan Cherki is coming, he looks unbelievable, this creative monster. He always was at Lyon, I understand that, but he's also been platformed in a way where the off the ball duties aren't as high because they put him next to Bernardo Silva, who Bernardo Silva is a great player. He reminds me of Odegaard, but I don't think there's that much disparity between him and Odegaard, like realistically. And that's the thing, Odegaard is not a 10, he's an 8, and he always has been an 8. Even back in the day when he's playing for Hervina in the Dutch league, he was more of an 8. He wasn't scoring and creating all the time. He was like a deeper player that helped with that sort of progression ball, and that's always been what he's like. And I look at some of the players in our squad, and I'm like, Eze, just like, I think Eze has talent. I'm not sure if Eze, there's a certain greedification with him, whether like Jack Grealish, you're trying to put him in the system a little bit more. And I've seen a lot of people talk about this. And I get that that's not always going to be easy, especially when Eze doesn't show that great ability off the ball to run, which is on him at the end of the day. But it just feels like we don't have that sort of, and that's not necessarily just an Arsenal thing. That is more of a top level football thing sometimes. And some of these players who are creative and great don't work in that way. But I just don't know. I talk to analysts, I talk to other people, and they're just like, every striker that you use, every attacker you use is used in the wrong way. Like, it's just such counterproductive measures. Saka's your best attacker. He's the only one that can maybe do a job out wide, so we put him out wide. But it's just like, well, then who's in the centre? It's like people that aren't good there. But it's like, like the whole attack is just a mess in itself, like with everyone. And like, I think that he doesn't platform him in very good ways. I don't think he knows really how to make an attack or do it. And I think that's the problem. Like, Man City have crap players like Sevilla. He's awful player. But like, even he looks okay some games because I think City platform him in ways that it worked. Foden's had a bad season, to be honest, but they've still trying to find ways to make him work. Left wing doesn't work. Right wing doesn't work. Centre mid. They're trying things. They're actually trying to do things. I don't think Tijani Reinders is a great player. I'm going to be honest. He can't can't defend, but he can't do them defensive things, but he's a great off-the-ball mover, but they don't care. They just platform in ways where it doesn't matter. And they take, especially right now, Man City, 3 years ago, they play a bit more like, I'd say, how we play now, but they take what they get given. They are going to give up chances. They're going to give up big 2v2s at the back and rely on Kuzanov and Gueye to run back and defend. It's going to happen, but they just take the punches and go, well, we've got a better attack. We'll do it. Okay, yeah, we maybe don't have that privilege of doing that, but some of these players, and I see people go like, oh, Arsenal should sign a Morgan Rogers. I think if you put Morgan Rogers in his team, it'd be the worst decision you'd ever make. I think Morgan Rogers, on my eyes, it'd be the worst signing because Morgan Rogers is platformed in a way at Aston Villa where he's like perfect for them. They go central. He's allowed to carry. He's allowed to pick the ball up. Where is he going to get the space for Arsenal to do that? Eze sits in that role right now and gets no space. And like we think Rodgers is going to do something. Like, okay, he can shoot from outside the box. Is he going to be allowed to shoot from outside the box at Arsenal? Seems like they don't want to. Like these things, I'm like, I just don't know, man. Like there are things I can accept of how we play and how the things that we're doing. But when it isn't working, you have to be able to switch up because we aren't Wolves, respectfully. We aren't an awful team that have bad players. We are a team that have investment all over the squad. Look at our bench. It is better than every team we go against. Look at Wolves' bench. They're bringing on 19-year-old kids for their debut. And we're bringing on people like, well, we barely did any subs in this game, which I thought was still crazy. But, you know, we're bringing on people like Jesus, who I think are bad, but they're still better than that. But nowhere near. Like we're not at the level required.
Bad when he
and
came on as well.
Gyökeres might be bad, but Jesus is worse. And I've been saying this for months. Jesus, if you start him in games, will be way worse. He cannot do anything like that.
Isn't it weird though? Like you say, we're like trying to play Gyökeres at times like he's Havertz. Then other times we're trying to play with him like he's Jesus. Just like, I know that's not your system, but just try to play to his strengths. Like, I don't know. And actually, before I leave that point, because I saw you put out a brilliant tweet, mate, and I could tell you're angry, and I love angry Wackles. It's like my favorite character. But when you put out about the front three, and it, like, I can't remember what the tweet exactly was, but essentially, can you remember what you said?
I'm not sure. I tweet all the time.
Let me find this tweet for everyone because it was just, I just thought, oh my God, I could tell you were so annoyed, but it was also the the context of it. Is it this one? Oh, I mean, there's so many here. Deserved. You play like something again, then this is what happens. Arteta has managed the club like a mess the last 2 months, and this is his fault. I mean, yeah, first. It was about, there's so many. Mate, you've been going crazy on Twitter recently.
Yeah, I know, because I figured out how it works now.
Oh, here it is. The attacking dynamics are whoever he wants to play on the day. I've had enough. And I looked, and in isolation, I went, right, you've gone with Martinelli, Gyökeres, and Madueke as your front three, which are all runners. And really, if you are just like, if you are someone who didn't even know those players, say if you're an FM, you had no idea who those players were from the names, and you just looked at their stats, you go, okay, play counter-attack. I don't know, try to do that. Maybe like, stretch the game vertically, nope, no, we're not going to do that. And we're going to try to play ball to feet with Martinelli, who cannot take the ball, try to play into Gyökeres, who cannot hold up the ball, try to oh my God, it was painful.
Did you see the tweet?
Regardless, we should still be able to use them against Wolves.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's so true.
Did
you see the tweet, to put to your point, did you see the tweet that Billy Carpenter put out the other day where it was like, this is the 6th game that Martinelli and Gyökeres have started together in the Premier League. In those games, they've combined for 0 goals, 0 assists. Martinelli is 4 from 15 on crosses, and Gyökeres has yet to have a shot on target. And it's like, that is actually like, because like
that's damning, isn't it?
I know Rowan's done a great piece on this. I know a lot of people talk about this, but Arteta does prioritize connections, but I'm sorry, but when the connections are clearly not working, why do you do it? We're in a party at right back. I get why you do, but like, why? Just don't. I'd rather play anyone there. And it's the same with, I was thinking this in bed earlier, and I was thinking, I'd rather play Marley Salmon at the moment than Timber, because I know Marley Salmon's at least going to have energy. Timber can't run. He can't walk. Like
the other thing is, do you know what? Even if there is a like a real problem with Ben White, and I don't know, maybe he's not physically fit or something. Maybe there's something that we're all missing, right? You have still got Mosquera, who is more than capable of playing that position.
Yep.
Like, and that's, I think a lot of people have missed that point. He is such a good candidate for playing right back right now, like for so many reasons, and he's just refusing to do it. Before we finish up, because it is it's 5 to 10, mate, and this is a shorter version tonight, guys. We're trying to round up on about an hour tonight. It will never happen. You all know that. Let's go through some of the comments, because we love some of the comments from you guys. How much do you think that other teams are stepping up when they play Arsenal? How much do you think the fact that Arsenal is hated because of its fans having an effect on other teams stepping up? Oh, mate, that's a hell of a question. Thank you so much, Naomi. I put out a tweet, seriously, we're talking about tweets, and I said, why is it that the opposition goalkeeper always turns into prime Buffon? We seem to concede the most unreal goals, and lo and behold, what happened? And then I said, other teams just seem to really step up against us and have these like really good performances. Now, I wouldn't say Wolves actually had a good performance. It was probably like a really terrible like advertisement for the Premier League. But I think half of it for me is the way we play a lot of the time invites pressure and invites teams onto us. There was a moment in this game and the ball was played over the top, and Saliba wins the ball. I've forgotten who it was. It was one of the players for Wolves playing up top, trying to win it. Went down. I think Saliba might have stepped on his foot as he won the ball, which is in like at pace. So it's like one of those ones where you go, well, that's 50-50. It's not, he's not intentionally done it. Player's gone down. And rather than Saliba getting the ball and going, okay, I'm going to play it upfield, and then us playing it into touch and going, Wolves have the ball, we continue to play and play and play. And I could feel the crowd getting more and more angst about the situation. And you think, just put it out into touch. We're not in a situation where we're going to score. Do you know what I mean? It's not one where it's like a quick breakaway, like play with it, boys. That the whistle's not gone. But just in that situation, I feel like just do the sensible thing, kick it out, and calm the crowd down again. But like suddenly, after that, Mosquera comes in, like is in the Wolves. Mosquera comes in with this horrific challenge. You've got like Wolves players just suddenly clattering into us, and I went, well, you kind of done that to yourselves, boys. When the easy thing was kick the ball into touch and then just carry on, because the crowd at the time were dead because we were 1-0 up. But I don't know. Like, what about you? Do you think like it's because Arsenal are hated, as Naomi said, or do you think it's just a case of like the way we play that we're kind of inviting that pressure?
I don't like. I think there's always a difference between fan perspective and like actual like club perspective. Like, I think every single team actually respects Arsenal quite, like, not every team, but I think a lot of teams respect Arsenal quite a lot. Like, you hear a lot of players in interviews talk about how like Arsenal are just really good and they struggle against them. But so I don't necessarily think it comes from that perspective. I just think, yeah, like it's how we play. I think the problem is that there is certain levels of like, yeah, okay, Wolves were up for it a little bit, but we just play with no intensity the entire game. That it just allows these things to happen. You allow variance. If you're 1-0 or 2-1 down against a team, you're like, might as well go for it. These players as well, I keep seeing people talk about like long shots and stuff. It's because we have no intensity. We don't close people down, and we're in the Premier League. I'm not so. Everyone's like, oh, the left back Bueno just scored a worldie. Yeah, but it's the Premier League. He's still a very good footballer. He's still in the top 0.1%. This isn't Sunday League football. Like, it's like against Chelsea. You give Enzo Fernandez 3 shots from like 20 yards out. We got lucky on that day. He missed. I'm actually thinking, I'm worried because it's like, you want people to shoot from distances, but not all the time from half spaces when there's space there, because these players are quite frankly good enough to score from that. We saw it with Cunha. We've seen it multiple times this season. So it's just like stuff like that. I'm like, we kind of cause our own problems. And I've seen people like, I think the fans and stuff like is a big thing, but I just think we should be good enough to be able to deal with that, even if the
Yeah.
crowd is going crazy. I've seen people blame Arsenal fans and being like, "Oh, the Arsenal fans going to the crowd are got anxiety and stuff," but it's not their fault. If you play like timid and slow football for 70 minutes and you can't figure out how to score out of a set piece, then they're gonna feel nervous, especially with the history we've got. Also, I'm not gonna blame fans that have spent all their time going up to awful Birmingham in the rain in the snow and are going further up to Wolverhampton to watch our stupid ass
I
team
mean,
play on
that
a
weather
Wednesday
was
night.
atrocious, wasn't it?
Yeah, they've gone all
I
the way
can
there
only
to watch
imagine that.
us.
And then the transport back, like, oh.
It's all that, and people are blaming the fans. It's not the fans' fault that the players didn't want to turn up on the day and couldn't run and couldn't even figure out how to play football. Like,
Yeah.
it's just they're supposed to be professionals. I hate bringing up money because I think it's stupid and it's just how football is. But at the end of the day, the money they're on, the responsibility they have, and all the things that they can do in the world, it's just like you have to try and be better. You do have to try for the other people that do actually care about this a lot, and it just comes down to these levels of like, how tired are they? Where is the anxiety of the players? Do they have that winning mentality? Because I just don't at the moment think they do. At the moment, I can't foresee how that Carabao Cup's going to go, but I don't know if we're going to get to it in good state. We could already, if we lose to Tottenham and they're going to be a game in hand and they could go ahead of us, like, and it's all like, and we still got to play City, then we've got to play Chelsea the next week after, which, we haven't, we've always had our own problems against Chelsea. Even this season, we've beat them twice. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm just completely worried about this squad. I'm completely worried about this Tottenham game because they're up for it, and at the moment, we can't even be up for any game. It looks like so.
Yeah, man. Next one from the Daily Depot. We are far too reliant on rhythm and momentum. That's why when we score goals, we score them in quick 20-minute spells. When a team knocks us out of our rhythm, we look clueless and can't recover, like 100%. That's kind of what we talked about earlier, isn't it? And it has been like that. Like the last time we played Tottenham, Eze was kind of just right place, right time, and just kind of one went in, then another went in, and we've got to step up this weekend. Charles 87. Is it time to have a conversation on David Raya? Have we really looked at why Raya is vulnerable to bangers repeatedly? It seems Premier League teams have unlocked something since LFC away and the Man United home games. I mean, it kind of goes on to what we were saying earlier about like just not closing down a lot of the time, and we do give up these low XG chances, like these chances from outside the box. I know. Rohan gets really annoyed about the fact that people say about David Raya's height. I do think there's probably something very small in there, because I always remember even like grassroots football before going into an academy or anything, and as soon as you saw a small player, the coach used to go, test him. Like, just have a go. Because if you see a little change, you've got to try it. And I'm not saying that's the reason. Like, he's not just a Premier League keeper. He is one of the top Premier League keepers, one of the top keepers in Europe. But on form, like, he just doesn't seem to be making right decisions. He doesn't seem to be like, and that's even in like for the second goal, like that cross claim, he seems to be trying to catch it, where I think if you're coming over the top of your defender, you've got to punch that away. He's also then, is he even calling for it? I don't know. Like, the whole thing is just disastrous to watch. And then, like you say, at times where you want him to like play it out slowly and let us like regain composure and build up in a different manner, he seems to be like pinging the ball out real fast, whether that's from a throw or a kick. He seems like, I don't know, his decision making for me is just not right. But right now, you cannot take him out of the team ahead of the North London derby. I think that would just be,
well,
that would be a huge statement.
He can't come out of the team anyway. Like, you're going to play. Everyone's crying about Raya being bad from long shots. Oh yeah, let's put one of the worst goalkeepers in Premier League history instead. And like, Kepa's awful from long shots. Like, like I don't have an issue with Raya. I think there is problems that Raya has, and I don't think it's anything to do with his height or long shots. I actually think that's something that's not really his fault. That's more on the team. It's always that thing where like, someone will run past the whole team and then maybe the keeper should save it and then people will blame the keeper. And it's like, well, maybe if the defense actually wanted to like, defend, but it might not really be the keeper's fault to be the last man all the time. I think
Yeah.
I think Raya has problems. I think his decision making right now is insane. His passing has just been like so sporadic, and I think that the mistakes that he's consistently made now, Sunderland and this one, where like it's the same mistake basically, where he just like wants to come out and claim it. I actually watched it back and I was like, actually, it's not that far. He's like 5 yards out, so I can understand why he wanted to come and get it. That's fine, but I mean, you just got to communicate better with
Yeah.
Gabriel and like. Yeah, I have issues with Ryan. I get people are going to be upset because João Garcia is probably one of the best keepers in the world, but it is what it is. Like, I still think Raya is top 5 keeper in the world. Like, he makes mistakes. Every keeper makes mistakes. Alisson just threw away the Liverpool game against City, by the way. So it's like, it just happens.
Yeah. Let's go on a couple others. I want to put these two together, actually. So let me find the first one. Where has it gone? I do apologize, everyone. It was about transfers. Here we are. It was from earlier from Hamad. How much of an impact has City's January signings had on Arsenal's psychology, knowing they've strengthened while Arsenal have stayed the same? Now, I want to join that on with this one because it was about the injury to Marino. So Stig, evening Stig, could the Marino injury be the worst injury we could have happened this point in time? It feels like he is more pivotal to us than we have actually thought. And the reason I put these together is because if we do not win this league, especially if we go trophyless this season, that whole narrative about Berta and the summer, I think is going to flip on its head. I think people are going to really turn and go, we spent all this money in the summer, and what have we got to show for it? Because people will be pointing the finger at the Eze signing, because that is a massive amount of money for a player who's not been kind of assimilated into the squad. Gyökeres, who really has not turned up this season, albeit I think he's kind of done what both of us expected him to do. Madueke has not set the world alight. Hincapié has been okay, but he hasn't, really made the position his own. You've got Zubimendi, who has been either amazing or disastrous. And then people are going to look and go, we didn't get anyone in at January. Marino then goes down injured. We get rid of Ethan Winery, who is one of our very few, I don't know, like he's got that youthful exuberance, hasn't he, of just confidence within himself to just take it on. And then City go in and get Gueye and Semenyo. And I think that narrative will be, wow, they did the business, we didn't. That's what got them over the line. Like, first of all, can you see that narrative happening? Or am I just mental?
I mean, maybe but we spent like so much money in the summer. Like, I don't know where people expect money to come from when we've sold absolutely no one. Like, this is the whole Semenyo and Madueke talk, which I just think is so stupid because I've even seen intelligent people be like, oh, yeah, but to me, it makes no sense. Yeah, but let's not forget that they bought Semenyo in January. You couldn't buy Semenyo in the summer. He signed a new deal. So what? You just weren't going to have a winger for 6 months running Saka into the ground even more, which everyone would have complained about even more. So it's like,
especially when he went down with his injury.
Yeah, exactly. And you can argue like, oh, well, Madueke hasn't really done too much in that 6 months, but it's not about what he's done. It's about him being available, which has helped. I know he was injured, but he has been available, which has helped Saka's minutes quite a lot. I also don't think Semenyo in this team does much difference. Yeah, he's a goal scorer, but like, look, we struggle so much more than that at the moment. Like, creativity is a consistent issue. So it doesn't even matter. You can't score goals if no one's creating. We're seeing Gyökeres' shots that he's having. Like, I think that is a narrative that is fair, but Man City bought their players because they had injuries. Doku was injured, Foden's been in and out of the squad. They needed another attacking player because they basically played the same 5 players every game all season. Haaland's been ran into the ground. And then in defense, Ruben Diaz and Vardiao are injured. Vardiao's injured for the rest of the season. He's their best defender. So, I mean, that's why they made them decisions. I don't think even if you watch City now that them 2 players have really improved them. Maybe the minutes help that they've come out, but we did that in the summer. We just haven't rotated the team enough. I still think that we have a better squad and a better team than City and should be better than them. But like, I just think it comes down to mentality sometimes, and I also think it comes down to like just ruthlessness. Like, it is such an easy word to say, but they just look so when they win proper. Like, other than the Liverpool game, but even that 1-1, 90th minute, would I believe that Arsenal would go for that game? Okay, you can argue there was a little lucky with Allison or whatever doing his thing, but I don't think we would have. We would have been like, let's take the draw. Like, that sort of mentality thing is just like, that's the problem, and that's the difference between the two clubs, and that's what's going to get them back into this league. So
Yeah, like for me, I think in terms of the Arsenal players, it's not like the days where we had Van Persie and the club just weren't investing, and he was looking at it going, you know, I've got to leave. I want to win things, and there's no ambition here. It doesn't feel like that to me. I wasn't calling out and crying out for a big January signing. Like, if we could have got one, great, but I wasn't expecting it, and nor did I think we really needed it. And we're investing every summer, and these players, in terms of, like, I think what did we say earlier? What was the comment? I don't want to kind of misquote this. It was this. So, how much of an impact has City's January signings had on Arsenal psychology? I think that, you know, they've played against the world's best. We've gone to the Bernabeu and just dominated them. We've played against Bayern Munich this season, who are the best team in world football at the time. Beat them, dominated them. We've played against PSG and beaten them. We've played against Atletico Madrid and beaten them 4-0. Like, we're not I don't think them getting Semenyo and Gahey's going to strike the fear into us, and I don't think they're thinking they've got more ambition than us, because essentially they've done it out of necessity. But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
I think we're the biggest issues. I actually think Arsenal itself are scared of themselves more than City. I don't think in any way that the players really care. They probably watch City and they probably think City aren't that great. I just think they're terrified of themselves, of messing up, rather than not it being City or whoever. I don't think we're looking over our shoulders at City as much as people think. And I think by the comments of a lot of the players, I would think that's kind of what's going on. I just think they're terrified of messing up themselves. They're just terrified. And I think that's the biggest issue. I think it's our own problem. It's ourselves. We are our own problems. That's the issue.
Evening, Tom. Hope you are well. How is everyone? I mean, after an hour and 12 minutes of us ranting, not great, mate. I've decided to start watching Juventus, and so far I appreciate Arsenal. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like maybe we are just kind of entitled, but I think it's that thing of, what do they say about insanity? Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, and I feel like that right now. Let's go on to Dickie 12 Min. Hope you're well, mate. City have a proven Premier League goal striker. Arsenal do not. I'll be honest, and we kind of went onto this. I don't know how long you've been watching, mate. I don't know if we could platform a good striker or not anyway. Like, I genuinely don't. Like, we seem to play better with a focal point up front, like a physical reference where we can play over the press, a la Havertz, and someone that can bring the wingers into play, which has been Jesus and Havertz. Because if you look, even when we had Aubameyang, when we've had Lacazette, like, they haven't been fantastic. Like, Aubameyang, a lot of his play was out wide as well, you know. We played Lacazette inside, and then we played Aubameyang out on the left. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, if you could get a Haaland or a Kane or an Mbappe, maybe Arteta finally goes, oh, you know what, I'm going to platform them. And maybe they're that good that it doesn't matter what system they're in, they'll make a difference. But
you have to take so much risk when you play these players. Like, Man City's defense is like quite bad, even if the stats don't even if the goals against them don't suggest it. Like, you have to do this, and respectfully, like, Haaland obviously is one of the best strikers in the world. You know, he scored 2 non-penalty goals in the last 8-9 weeks, since December the 20th, which is 2 months from now. So like, he's still not really been that good. It doesn't even make that difference. He's been like mid or even bad. Like, I think in some games, I mean, I even did a post on this, I think for some other company, where they were like, oh, he's still very good, even though he's not scoring, because you look at how many players get drawn towards him, and it's about that fear factor, which I do think is true. But like, yeah, like they take so much risks on the ball, Man City. Like, watch them for a game. They just don't care. Like against Fulham had a 1-on-1. And then they just countered them and then scored for their second goal. And I'm like, yeah, we just never would do that because we'd be like crying about giving up that chance. You know, it's funny because that's exactly what happened in the Brentford game. Late on, we gave up big chances, went for it, and then almost scored with Martinelli. But that's like literally like how City score goals. Like that goal we scored, almost scored there. Like, but we just not like that enough, really. We're too scared.
And I'm gonna, before we finish up, we'll go on the North London derby thing. Thanks, SPO. Really appreciate you on a Friday evening for joining us. Because he's saying leading 2-0 against Premier League last place team and then bottling it is just so Arsenal bottle style. Only Arsenal can treat, amazing spelling there, us with that insane bottling stuff. Lest we forget, we have won far more league titles than you. We've won more FA Cup titles than anyone else in the history of English football. So if you're considering you're 115, probably more, yeah? Know where I'm going with this? 115 things you've cheated with to get yourself to this position, they're great. Like, I mean, wonderful, mate. And yeah, it did look like a little bit like Mario. But at least I'm happy to show my face online because you've obviously just got that little City badge. So thanks for that. I appreciate the comment, mate. As for your other comment, I mean, this one, the Man City 4-1 Tottenham's 5-2 Arsenal, like, yeah, cool. Like, whatever. I hope you have a nice time turning up to your stadium with the other 5 people that turn up there, mate. Stig, on transfers, what would be different now if we've got an Isak instead of Gyökeres? Oh,
well, I mean, he'd be out with a torn ACL.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. It's so frustrating because, like, there's one player, do you know what? I saw a highlight of him earlier and I was like, oh, he would be perfect, but Arteta would never get him. The club would never get him. And it's Osman. Like, I still feel like that's, like, it's a transfer that's never going to happen. But there's a part of me that feels like it's just opportunity missed.
I mean, I do find it funny with the Gyökeres talk because, like, we did, like, people are like, I've said that we spent a lot of money, but Gyökeres for 50 mil is not that much for a striker in this market. Like, people need to like halt their expectations. Like Marmoush, like 60, 70 mil. Like, he's not even been that good this season up until the last couple of weeks, and they played him up front. You know, Ekitike. I've watched Ekitike so much, as you know, I did a tweet about it. He is not as good as people make it out right now. I definitely think he has the potential, and it's fine spending that money. And I think he's a fantastic player. But watch him against like Sunderland, watch him against like Man City, and some of the worst performances I've seen. That guy can't do much. He's missing big chances. His technical quality is off. You think about Woltmarder. Woltmarder's now played in central midfield against Karabag. I wonder if they're going to play him against City in central midfield. You know, he can't do anything going forward. I saw him miss an open header, and he's like 6'7" against Karabag. He's never been good in the air though, so that doesn't surprise me too much.
Yeah.
But like, I look at all these players like Šeško. I think Šeško is a lot like high level, but he doesn't start all the time for United. You know, they're still finding ways.
It's the right choice, really, isn't it? Like,
yeah,
you'd never want him to come in and just start.
The striker market was just a mess anyway, and it is a mess continuing. That's why when I would be like, oh, I want someone like Alvarez, who isn't really like a proper striker, but he is like kind of like a more facilitator. Just think if suits us better, and it's the best on the market, sort of thing. Like when Jesus was available, it was the best on the market that we could get. And it was a really good coup at the time, and that's the sort of things that we just got to do again. Like, yeah, it's just what it is. Like, I think if we'd gone anywhere with a lot of the transfers, it would have been. I still don't know if it would have been great. I'm not sure if I love the Eze signing. I think maybe we could have done a little bit more there. I think that's one I'm a bit critical of. Maybe Madueke as well. You could definitely argue, but I'm not sure. Like the right wingers in the market, like I mean, 55 mil Newcastle spent on Alanga. Like that guy can't even kick a ball. Like he's done nothing all season. So like I don't know. Like it's just one of them things where I don't know. It seems like every side has struggled, to be honest.
I mean, the XG is just falling off a cliff for every team, bar United, hasn't it? So I mean, it's just where the league is right now. Unfortunately, it's and where world football is. Because you're even looking at the best strikers in the world, you're still looking at players like Lewandowski, like still Harry Kane. Like it's not changed. There's no one really coming through that you look at and go, wow, you are, a top-notch striker. There's no one that's a certified bang. So it just is what it is. And I look at the winger market now, and I'm starting to go, Yildiz got a new contract, didn't he? And I think, well, even he's not, a guarantee. So it's.
I've no idea why, by the way. That was 5-2 to Galatasaray.
Oh no, man. Oh, right. Final comment before we get on to the North London derby. So Julian Alvarez was the opportunity. Hopefully they go for him in the summer. So Dickie Mint is a United fan. Just to clarify that with everyone. We nailed, so it means United. United nailed Bueno and Cunha this season. It's given us a spark that you need, albeit we got rid of a god-awful manager. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I do wonder if we're in a position where when Wenger took over, and this is kind of going off topic, when Wenger took over, he inherited this unbelievable back four, or back five, you could call it. And the foundation was there for him to then go and play expansive football and build upon that. Part of me wonders if maybe that's what is needed. And that's something that maybe we'll have to address at the end of the season, depending on, results and things. But I do wonder if you get in a more expensive manager, if that's all that's needed, because that back four is set. It's fine. In terms of, like, I would have liked Mbeumo. I would have loved him at the club. I think he was a really interesting player. I know you weren't as keen on him. I think Cunha, I like him, but I don't know where he would fit in this team anyway. Like,
I think Cunha is actually a really good player. And it's like always got like that ability, like when late in games, just to hold the ball and like win fouls. And I love that. But yeah, like I don't really get in formation wise where he'd fit for us, because it is just like you are kind of giving up a big spot of our team where Rice plays, where it's a bit complicated. It's the same problem we have with Eze, really, where they don't want to play they want to play a double pivots, and it's like, where does he play? I actually don't think Mbeumo's that good, and I think the money that was spent on him was kind of insane. But I get for United, it's been good. They spent a lot of money on a good forward line, and their forward line is way better than last season, and better than ours. It was one of the best in the league. But I don't think Mbeumo, if you play for Arsenal, I think we're so hypercritical of everything. I feel like, like with Madueke, when he does stuff, I feel like we wouldn't give the credit. And Mbeumo is just like a goal scorer at the end of the day. Maybe that's something we need, but like we don't platform our players to score goals. So it's like,
that's the thing, isn't it? I don't know what would happen then.
We're just not the same sort of team, but I like them for United. Just expensive, innit? It's just the same with anyone. Everyone costs like 60 mil, and you just don't know.
And that's the thing, Julian Alvarez apparently is going to cost about 100 mil. And then when you look at that, you go, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money, especially because I genuinely don't know if he can lead the line for us on his own. I kind of like the concept if you played him off of a Havertz and do like we've done recently. So you play like a 10 near him, or even maybe an Eze. Can that work? Possibly. But so there's already questions about that. And Havertz, he can't even keep fit anyway. So it's
hopefully he's back. Hopefully he's back for the thing. I will say Alvarez has to play with a big man up front. He has his entire career. Haaland, Sorloth. I mean, he never plays up front by himself. But yeah, like hopefully Havertz is back this weekend. I just think I saw like Billy Carpenter do like how Arsenal fix their problems, and he put loads of these different setups for different ways. Every single one of Havertz up front, and I was like, yeah, that is just what it is. That is just what makes us better. Havertz playing like up front. I think in midfield he was still okay, but I just think he has to be up front just because the striker options we have are not working.
Yeah. 100%. And Gary says, in all pro sports, there are managers that just can't get you to the promised land. And I've got to admit, like, this is one thing that annoys me. There are going to be people that are like, Arteta's not a top manager, blah, blah. He's obviously a top manager. He has gone to some of the hardest grounds in world football and won. He has competed in the Premier League. He has taken this squad from an absolute just nothing squad, like a banter squad. It really was. He's won a trophy, to be fair. I mean, I won't really count the community shields. He just hasn't got us over the line. And I think I just hope for his sake that the kind of the narrative around him doesn't like flip and people start going, oh, he's a terrible manager, because he's not. Like he's not. And on the flip side, like if he wins the Premier League, like that's a massive thing, isn't it? Like especially in your first ever job.
This is the thing. Like, there's so many people have criticism of Arteta, and I get that the play style's not fun, but I don't really care as long as we're winning. I've always said this. Like, it's fine if you win games and you deserve to win, but when the performances are bad and you're not getting results either, and it's deserved, like over and over again, then there is going to be criticism there. If we win the league this year, then at the end of the day, of all the criticisms I have of Arteta and all the ways I think he's managed the team poorly, like I'm just going to have to accept it. It's the first Premier League title I'll ever see us win. It's the first one in over 20 years. Like, these are things that people are like, oh, I still think he should be sacked if we win the league. It's just like, what do you, because you don't like the style of football. I don't care. We've won. That's more important. Winning is more important than anything. But yeah, we're not winning at the moment. So that's why the criticisms are apparent. But yeah.
Before we finish then, the North London derby, what team are you going for? Because let's go through what I'm going to do a predicted 11. I genuinely think it's going to be exactly the same 11. But I think Trossard will be on the left instead of Martinelli. And I wouldn't be surprised if Odegaard comes back in if fully fit. And then Saka goes out to the right. But if he's not, then it'll be exactly the same. And I think Trossard will just play on the left. Like, is that what you're thinking that Arteta is going to do?
Saka has to be on the right for me, not because one of the issues I had was like I want to see Saka in midfield, and I think I saw some good signs against Wolves. He was good against Wigan, but I'm like, that was one of Madueke's worst games, and he's just not consistent out there, like dribbling past players, and it's just pointless because it's like, well, we might as well just. This is the whole issue of like, this is why I can justify Saka not playing in midfield and stuff before, because I'm like, well, yeah, we have no options out there, so yeah, Saka out on the right for me. I want Havertz to play up front, but I don't know if Havertz is going to be fit or what's going on there. He'll probably be on the bench. So I'm assuming he'll start like Gyökeres up front again. Is he going to do that? Like, this is the thing.
I think so.
Like, he has to start because he's better than Jesus, but like, it's just, he just played 60 minutes against Wolves. I just don't get it. I think, okay, sure. I think Trossard will play as long as his jaw's okay. Because he did get hit in the jaw.
I think he is back for it.
Yeah, like I would rather. I mean, I'd rather just shove Eze in left wing and just try something, to be honest. Again, I know it hasn't worked in the past, but I'm like, I don't know. I think the fact that Hincapié is a little bit more certain with his game now, I think it can be better. I think when you're trying to embed so many different players and it doesn't work, I would start in defense. I'd probably start. I would probably start Mascara, but he's not going to do that. He'll just start the same back four. It has, in my opinion, Ben White has to start. I don't care. Like, I don't care anymore. I don't care if Timber's played good against Tottenham in the past, which I know he has, like, consistently. Yep. I don't care. It has to be Ben White. He has not played enough football. People are telling me he might not be fit. He played 90 minutes against Wigan last week, like, or whatever. Like, he was fine in that game. I know it's Wigan, but he looked absolutely fine. It's the same with Norgard. There's no excuses. Norgard gets man the match all these games that he plays. It's like, oh, he's not fit. What do you mean? Why is he on the bench then? Like, so Ben White has to play. I would actually just keep Hincapié there over Calafiori. I've been impressed by Hincapié. I think Hincapié is a better.
I think if Ben White plays as well, I quite like the balance of each side.
Yeah, I don't think you want to play Calafiori and Ben White. That's a bit insane away at Tottenham, I think. Calafiori and Ben White. But I think Hincapié is fine. I think Hincapié is a better defensive option than Calafiori. Maybe.
And he's probably the only player in the team on form, isn't he?
Yeah, he's on good form. He's been good last couple of weeks. I don't really see an issue with Hincapié playing. I think he's earned his way in the spot, especially with Calafiori's fitness being whatever and not being brilliant when he comes in. So I have no issues with that. Gabriel said whatever. I would play Mascara, but it's fine, I guess. So they've played it yet.
I think for the North London derby, you keep those two together. I think
I'm hoping Gabriel can do like 3 passes. That'd be nice.
I mean, to be fair, he got an assist, didn't he? So
yeah, I mean, somehow. While I was in goal, I just don't know what you can do with this midfield because yet again, I don't really know how Tudor's going to play. I don't really watch much of Tudor at Juve. Like, why would I want to? And I don't really care. So I haven't really done much.
I think UG plays a 5.
Yeah, he does. He does play a 5, and I do think Tottenham are actually set up to play a 5 as well. So he probably should play a 5. But they have so many injuries right now. Like, and Romero suspended. Like, I looked at like the predicted 11, and they put like Gray in right back, and I was like looking at this stuff like, how Tottenham get so many injuries? By the way, I have no idea how. Like, we have injury problems, but they have like
There's a problem in North London, isn't there?
I don't know how they get so many injuries. I see people be like, "Oh, Arsenal don't have an injury crisis." Look at Tottenham. No, Tottenham are the exception to the rule. Their injuries are insane. Like I can't even explain that. That's not normal. So I think that like he'll probably go Zubimendi and Rice, but I don't mind starting with Zubimendi. This is what I said the other day. I wanted Zubimendi and Rice to play in this game, but against Wolves, I wanted 2 10s. But now
And
it's
that's
like,
the thing.
but now you've done it. Like we're gonna have to play Zubimendi and Rice in this game. I just want him to be experimental, and if things aren't working, literally bring Zubimendi off at half time, 50 minutes, 55 minutes, whatever. Take him off. Don't play in the whole game. Put Norgard on. I don't care. Norgard or a 10. I don't care which one you do. You can even play Eze, bring him on, and Eze was good last time against Tottenham. I think we all remember that. So he can play against them. Or you just bring on Norgard. And I know he won't do that because he'll be like, Norgard's barely played, but that's your fault. Like, so I don't know. Like, I don't think the lineup's going to be very interesting. It's going to be the same, really, I think.
The only other thing I would say is up top, is there an opportunity to do something crazy and go, say you go with our midfield of, I don't know, Rice, Zubimendi. I mean, I think I'm still not too sure about that one. And then you play like an Odegaard or someone like that, if he is back. Could you then play Eze out on the left, Trossard in the middle as a false 9? And I'm not a big fan of him there, but nothing is sticking with Jesus at the moment. And I think maybe if you do that and then Eze and Trossard can switch, because they were trying to do it with Jesus and Trossard against Sunderland. The first kind of 20 minutes, they were switching in and out quite often. I wonder, maybe that's something that you could do. And you go, right, Eze, you play as a false 9 and Trossard, you switch. Like, something's got to change. But I think the majority of our team is going to have to stay the same simply because it's the North London derby. And as much as we're looking going, Zubimendi needs a rest and stuff, dropping him out of this one, I think that sends the wrong message almost. Any other game, it's fine. But the North London derby, that is like Gabriel and Raya, they've been dreadful. But if you drop them out for this one, I think everyone will be going, what do you mean you've dropped Gabriel? One of the best centre-backs in the world, and you've dropped him for the derby. It's not a good look. And I worry that he'll do the same with Timber. I think he'll look and he'll go, I'll keep Timber in. Whereas I would go, David Raya, Ben White, Gabriel and Saliba, Hincapié out on the left. As much as I think Calafiori has been an integral part this season. Declan Rice, it's going to have to be Zubimendi for this game, but I would quickly change it, like you say, like halftime change it. Norgard comes in if need be, but it shouldn't be like that because Norgard should have played against Wolves. And then I would probably play. I can't make up my mind about the 10.
We just don't know Odegaard's fitness, to be honest. Like, Eze's not going to play in the 10. Like, the fact we started Saka over him, I think is quite telling that he's basically like 4th choice 10 at this point, and Ethan is even there. And it is different roles.
Is Havertz back?
I have no idea. If Havertz is back, he should play. He will play. He's more important than Odegaard. I don't care. Havertz is the most important player in our attack, and he has been for years. And I've been saying this for time, and now everyone's realised he is literally our most important player. He makes everything work. He's the only person. When he's not in the team, we just look so lost. I don't know. I would rather just play if like with the whole false 9 thing. I'd rather just play Saka in false 9 and just shove Madueke out on the right. To be honest, again, rather than play like Trossard in the middle or whatever. Eze, I'd rather just think Saka and Madueke are probably better option. But I don't know. Maybe put Saka back in the 10 and Madueke starts. I don't know. Maybe like. I know Madueke's so weird because some games he's crap and some games he's good. Like I don't think he was great against Brentford, but then he did score and like there was some, and then Saka came on and was awful. So it was just like, it was just like one of them things where it's like, well, like Madueke is so frustrating, but he isn't awful all the time. Like I think with some players, like I know at least Madueke will try and take someone on at least. I don't have the same belief with Martinelli. If Martinelli's not playing well, he's just not doing anything like at all, you know, and it's one of them things. But Well, this is the problem. This is why I was so critical of the Wolves game, and we didn't even win it. I was so critical because I was like, you've put yourself in a selection issue for a team that are going to be so much more fitter than us when you could have just made it so easy and had fun and, enjoyed football for once. But no, we have to play this cagey 0-0, 1-0 game against Wolves who are bottom of the league. Great.
Yeah. Final question, mate, before we finish. Have we bottled the league if we lose this game?
The league's not over. I had this argument on my live stream where people were like, do you think we're going to win the league? And I was like, we're still in a good spot, but I guess I think we still have a chance. I don't know. Do you want definitive answers? I don't know. I'm just some guy. I don't know. And then some guy was like, put your mortgage on it. It was really annoying me because I was like, what?
Put your mortgage on it? Jesus Christ.
If anyone watches my content, or anyone knows me in real life, I don't deal with faff. If people ask me too many questions, if it's not even that, if people ask me the same stuff over and over again, I get frustrated and it's quite clear I get annoyed. And I get annoyed when I hear these stupid things that don't matter in life. Like, who cares? Who cares if I'll put a mortgage on? I'm not a content creator that does that. I know a lot of people do have they say these crazy things and then they get the reactions and good or bad. I'm not like that. I look at things much more nuanced than that. And we obviously, even if we lose to Tottenham, we could still win the league. We still play City. There is a chance we can win. I actually trust us more to play better in this game than I do against Wolves. I don't know. Like, I just think the team will be up for it after everything, a little bit more, even though
They have to be.
They have to be. That's the point. And so, I do. There's always going to be twists and turns. I don't think City are amazing. I don't think we're amazing. And I think both teams will continually drop points, especially when when more and more games happen. But so I don't think until like April or May, I'm not making any definitive responses if we're going to win or lose the league. If we lose this game, yeah, it's bad because then City, if they beat Newcastle, have the advantage, but it's not over at all. But we have bottled it in the sense of the lead that we've had. If we don't win the league this season, though, I do think it's the first year we have really bottled it. I don't agree with the other years. People who say that are just low IQ individuals, in my opinion, that don't really even bother to do any research or learn anything, because we just didn't. We've last year, injury problems no way near. The year before, we lost one game in 4 months. How is that bottling? What are we supposed to do? We can't really do much more. And then the year before that, you can argue maybe we bottled it in 22-23, but we weren't ready. We came fifth the year before. We had Rob Holding playing for 2 months because we had an injury to Saliba. Realistically, Rob Holding's not winning a Premier League title, is he? Let's be honest.
Yep.
And we were playing City, who had the most elite team ever at that point. So I don't know. People just don't take any nuance in it. I like giving people respect, and I respect a lot of people. I respect a lot of Man City as well. I watch a lot of City games. I make videos about City. I do care a lot, but people are just stupid, and that's what everything is now. It's low IQ.
I mean, mate, great answer. Completely agree with that as well. Just to have a little bit of positivity. January the 1st, 2026 started. City drew 0-0 against Sunderland. They then drew 1-1 against Chelsea, 1-1 against Brighton. They had a 2-0 loss against United. They had a 2-2 draw against Tottenham. They squeezed past Liverpool. So this is not a team that is, unfallible. And we are ahead of them right now. So we've got to be positive and we've got to get the win this weekend. Mate, thank you so much for tonight. I hope everyone's well, though. I hope everyone's feeling a little bit more confident about the match when it comes up. Please make sure you like and subscribe if you are here and if you're watching this. Reece, where can everyone find you?
Wokkles YouTube, Wokkles Football. You know it is.
And you can find me on Fordra on Footy and also on TDK Plus every so often. And obviously here on Fordra on Football. We will catch you next week. You guys know football. We